Hi everyone, it's me, B from Kelly Sunflower. So I'm on today to do a hashtag and video response to Talia, and her channel is called Tarot Shrink, and the hashtag is called hashtag massmarketgems, and this hashtag is about decks that are mass market in one's collection that I see as gems or staple decks. Now this hashtag was a bit challenging for me to kind of gather my decks because I've got so many tarot decks. I had to narrow it down to as best as I could. So let's crack on. So my first staple or mass market tarot gem is called the Albano Waite Tarot. Everyone should know this deck. It's a Rider-Waite Smith deck, but what I like about this deck is the bright colour palette. I like the fact that the suits are divided into different colours. So the pentacles have got like a lot of green in them. The wands have got like a lot of oranges in them, and so on and so forth. I did try to buy like a backup copy for this deck, but the cardstock on the newer versions of this deck tend to be a bit of a plasticky feel, so I had to gift that away. But color is very important to me. I like bright colors, especially in the tarot deck, because it helps me to see the story that the cards are trying to portray. So this is my first market gem, and it's the Albano Waite Tarot deck. So the next deck that I want to show you is called the Outsiders Art Tarot by Rita Rose. You don't see much people kind of showing this deck on TarotTube, or I haven't anyway. It's a really colourful deck. I think it's shiffer, but I can't be certain. But the cards are quite big. They're kind of like oracle kind of size. I put it back in order for this video, but they're just wonderful. Very brightly coloured. I mean, some people might find it busy, but bright and busy is my thing. And this deck is kind of pippish. So if I go to the suits, so the wands, you know, are all in red. The colour coded again, which is what I prefer. And there's like keywords. So for example, the Three of Wands says establish strength. So if you're a person like me that does struggle with the pip cards, this is a good deck to get, in my opinion, because it gives you a keyword to prompt your memory. So let's just show you some of the swords. So Six of Swords, it says journey. And let's show you some of the pentacles. So Eight of Pentacles, satisfaction. So this is the Outsiders Art Tarot deck. Another tarot deck is the Radiant Wilds Tarot. Again, it's because of the bright colours that this deck appeals to me. I didn't put it in order, but let me just show you. So it's got beautiful gold gilding, and I just love the orange colour palette. You know, it's Rider-Waite inspired, and it just really talks to me. Orange is one of my favourite colours. So the fact that this tarot deck has got like a lot of orange tone appeals to me. Just beautiful. These are the backs of the card, but again, very, very orange. This is a oracle deck called the Witchlings deck and book set. It's by Paladini Tarot, who I think has changed her name. And this is like a kind of like a spell kind of deck. Let's open it up. So it's got a keyword and a sentence underneath it. So, you know, like dreams. Dreams are an expression of collective experiences combined with messages from the spirit world. I mean, if I can remember, the guidebook was into kind of like spells and meditation. So for example, this one here where it says friendship, you will need a pink candle in a safe candle holder, a rose quartz. Carve your name into the pink candle to set it in the holder and light it. Hold the rose quartz in your hand. Visualize positive friendships coming your way. It just gives like kind of spells. So it kind of doubles up as both, like an oracle deck and like a kind of spell kind of deck as well. And the artwork is kind of very friendly on the eye. I don't usually do pastel, but for some reason I love the layout of this particular deck. Banishment. You have the power to banish negative energy and unwanted problems. And then I guess in the book it will give you ways of doing that. So I really like this deck. I don't use it so much as I used to, but it's still a very good kind of deck. The next deck is the cute little lenormand. Unfortunately, this is my indie version because I can't find my mass market version. But they're very, very similar. They've got the same backs. I think the indie version is kind of less saturated and slightly narrower, but the cards are the same, apart from the people's cards, which have been changed in the mass market deck. So what I like about this deck is that it's kind of like clear. It's got playing card inserts, and if you have this laid out on a grand tableau, it's easy to kind of read and stuff. It's a bit kind of whimsical and kitschy, but I like my decks that way. The mass market edition comes with a really kind of like extensive guidebook, which is really good for a beginner. It gives you the history about the lenormand, kind of nicely laid out on nice font. For each card, it gives you the playing card association, the planet associated to that card, the zodiac of that card, the feeling of that card. It gives you key themes and overall of the cards, how to read the particular card, sister cards, positive combinations, negative combinations, and any questions that you have about that card. This book also talks about playing inserts in great depth. Me, if I pull a card upside down, I tend to read the playing card insert definition. It's a really good book, and for anyone that's kind of new to Lenormand, I think this is a very good deck to get because the cards are kind of like not cluttered and the book is very, very good. The only downside that I didn't like about this deck is the people's card. They've taken out the man and woman card and replaced it with things like querent or partner and more gender neutral kind of archetypes. And if you're like me, who defines himself as a woman or sees himself as female, it's quite difficult to use the newer terms. I think they should keep all the cards in there and then give the user the opportunity to select what card they define themselves as. That's the only downfall with the mass market deck, that they've removed the traditional people card. Okay, my next mass market deck, Awele Pidgin Affirmations. So these are available on Amazon, small mass market company. So these are cards that talk about Nigerian Pidgin English. It gives you the saying here and then the English saying there. And I kind of bought this deck to brush up on my Nigerian Pidgin English because there's different types of Pidgin English in different types of African countries. Because my dad didn't teach me Pidgin English because he said it's like a slangish language, and he was very into like pronouncing things properly and good diction. Whenever I travel to Nigeria to visit relatives and stuff, their idea of English tends to be Pidgin English, even though I understand Yoruba completely but don't speak it. If I'm in a room with Yoruba speaking people, I can converse quite good, but I will respond back in English. Some people, especially in the rural parts of Nigeria, just talk either the local language. So, for example, where my dad comes from in Nigeria, they speak different type of dialected Yoruba. And so because I don't understand that type of Yoruba, people tend to speak to me in Pidgin English, which I also don't understand. So this deck has kind of helped me to bridge that gap. So for example here, it says here, don't take paracetamol for someone's headache. And that means I will remember that my mental health is more important than anybody else's. Self-care before welfare. So it's just things like that. So sometimes it can be said in English, but this different phrases. I know fit for my hands. I trust my decisions. I believe in myself. I am living with confidence because I can be me. This deck as well, to me, is also quite useful for maybe professionals that might work with Pidgin English speakers to understand what they're trying to say, because sometimes people who are non-Pidgin English speakers take the actual sentences as gospel. You know, like this one, monkey, no D born foul. Somebody might interpret that as someone being quite rude. But it says here, I am bold and decisive. I laugh in the face of fear because I know who I am and what I can do. The Pidgin English kind of sentences in this deck are really kind of like empowering as well. So they're really good. I say that a lot, no wahala. It's here, in my mind, only positive thoughts are allowed to roost. Forgiveness and empathy fill me up. So it's to me, it's a really useful deck, and I see it as a mass market gem. So again, this is called Awele Pidgin English Affirmations. I will try and leave the decks that are in print in the description bar should anybody be interested in getting any of these decks that I'm going to showcase. So another mass market gem is this deck here. I actually made this case. I think it's one of the first cases that I attempted to make. I should have really lined it really, but it's fitting for this deck. So this deck is called the Yarn Tarot, and as a knitter, this deck is a gem to me. So it's Waite inspired. Let's try and open this up. A lot of the archetypes kind of are associated with knitting. So for example, if you look at this sun card, the shawl is knitted. Four of Wands. You know, these are crochet hooks and yarns of wool going across. So a foundation of crochet hooks. The Hermit is holding a ball of knitting. So each card has got something in there that's to do with either knitting, crocheting or wool. So with the Empress, she's got a bag of knitting wool. The Lover's card, the heart, looks like it's being crocheted or knitted. So to me, I love this deck, and it's also Waite Smith inspired, so it kind of combines two of my greatest loves, tarot and knitting. Some of the cards are slightly pippish, but that's not a problem for me. So this is the Yarn Tarot deck. Okay, so another tarot gem that I have is called the New Palladini Tarot. It's a US Games deck. I love this deck because to me it's very, very masculine. A lot of the cards are masculine looking or androgynous, but mainly masculine looking. Look at the beautiful backs as well of the cards. And, you know, because I like to have a balance of both masculine and feminine decks, this one is, you know, as I said before, is very masculine. Even though it does have female archetypes in there, it's still kind of got a masculine feel. See a lot of males, which I love. So this is the New Palladini Tarot. Look at that Ten of Swords. You can see all the kind of blood oozing out. So another mass market gem of mine is my Brian deck. I think this deck is out of print. I've used it so much I've kind of bashed up the box a bit. But this is another kind of masculine deck. It's an affirmation deck, and it's from a dwarf called Brian. Now, the actual creator of this deck, who is called Rihanna Faulkner, she said that Brian is her spirit guide. You know, Brian is a dwarf, kind of geezerish, yeah. And I just like his affirmations, you know, like this one: determination, mate. Don't let this get the better of you. Keep going and don't take no for an answer. Best foot forward and all that. It's kind of like a pick-me-up deck as well. These are the backs of the cards. Absolutely gorgeous. More research needed. Read the small print, check the label, and ask the professionals. There is something you've missed. And also, it's a very kind of like accurate deck as well. It's a pity that this is no longer in print, because I would have liked to have had a backup version of this deck. But I use it mainly for rounding off readings, or sometimes just for a one-card pull for myself if I've got a burning question. I pull a Brian card, and 9 times out of 10, his advice is very predictive. And again, I like it as well because it's a kind of masculine, kind of geezerish kind of deck, which is kind of lacking to me in the tarot world. So this mass market gem, if I can remember. Okay, yes, the New Century Tarot. You don't see much people showing this deck in Tarot Tube. I've had this deck for quite a while. You can see the box is a bit kind of battered. I love the purple borders around this deck. You know, I do like kind of purple borders, that they're kind of like calm me. I don't know how to explain it, but I tend to pair this deck with a couple of other older mass market decks that have the same purple border, like for example the Grande one, and there's another one that I've got that's black and white that I can't remember the name at the moment, but it's got beautiful backs. They're slightly shorter and wider than a traditional tarot deck. This deck, believe it or not, gives really good kind of readings, and I love it. I haven't used it that much because there's so many new mass market decks on the market. Sometimes I kind of neglect my older gems, like this one. So it's beautiful. Okay. So the next two decks that I'm going to show you are kind of like healing decks. And the reason why I call these mass market gems is because they help me through the physical and emotional pain that I went through when I had my recent surgery. And also I suffer from kind of chronic pain. So sometimes when I'm at my lowest, when I'm really crippled with pain, if I pull a card from this deck or the next deck that I'm going to show you, it kind of picks me up. So this one here, I'm not sure if this deck is actually in print, but this is a Hay House deck. It's called Wisdom for Healing Cards, 50 Lessons in Personal Empowerment. And if I can remember, I think the creator is either a psychologist or some type of professional person that deals with healing. So I love the artwork on this deck. So it gives you a really nice kind of picture. So this one says, clear out the debris. And at the back of the card, it gives you the lesson. So engage in psychic cleansing. How much debris do you carry in your energy fields? Debris is generated by irritation, stress, unfinished business, and mental and emotional toxins. It's distracting and disempowering to the healing process. Your goal? To release unnecessary thoughts and emotions. So as I said before, so when I was like in a lot of pain, yeah, you know, if I've got something like this, it would just give me kind of confidence to know that the pain was only temporary, or acute as they call it in the medical field. So use your wisdom, act rather than wait. See the synchronicity? Observe your attitude. Today's lesson, determine whether you spend most of your energy in a positive or negative frame of mind. Do you have to remind yourself to be positive, or are you naturally that way? Your goal, to become mindful of whatever you give, and consciously, positively or negatively. So, you know, it just sets goals to kind of get you out of that kind of mental or emotional state. Be mindful or conflict. Be open to spiritual guidance, and so on and so forth. And in addition, the artwork is really, really nice, you know, very inclusive and just nicely illustrated or drawn. Reclaim your power. So this is the Wisdom of Healing cards. The next mass market oracle deck that I also used in my recovery was called the Sacred Self-Care Oracle by Jill Powell. Again, it's in purple. I do see purple as quite a healing colour. It's got beautiful kind of lavender, purpley, pinky backs. And look at this, abundance planning. Look for the fairies. Connect with your ancestors. Aromatherapy. So even though like the keywords are quite kind of bland, the actual guidebook, even though it's kind of not too heavy, is very, very, very informative. It gives you, you know, quite a lot of information about each card, and it gives you a mantra as well. I attract a level of abundance in alignment with my self-worth and reflective of my generous nature. And then it gives you some journal prompts as well. So how I use this deck, I used to pick out the card that described my emotion or how I was feeling at the time. And then I would go to the guidebook and use the mantra to give me some uplifting affirmation advice, or just uplifting energy. So that's how I used this deck. And the colour palette is just really nice, kind of very bubblegummy. So this is the Sacred Self-Care Oracle deck. So I guess you're probably fed up of me going on about this deck, the Everyday Enchantment Tarot by Paladini. This is one of my staple decks. Love it. I'll just show you a few of the cards. So again, these cards are kind of like color coded. Color is really important to me because I see a lot through color. And what I like about this deck is that it's very relatable. I love the kind of artwork. The people look kind of almost real. And the scenes to me kind of remind me of old London, the London that I grew up in the 1970s. You know, the Major Arcana cards are kind of like in black, the borders. I think the cups are blue and the wands are red. But it's just a modern take of the Rider-Waite Smith. And, you know, this reminds me of my dad, you know, in his middle-aged days. And look at the pictures on the wall, so you can tell that this is a family kind of man. And this deck is really easy for me to read, and it tells a very good story. I might even buy a backup to this deck, actually. Look at this devil card, you know, he's going down a runway street, taking risks, you know, not paying attention. You know, he's consumed by greed and alcohol. It's just a really good take. Two of Cups. So this is the Everyday Enchantment Tarot by Paladini. Okay, so an oracle deck, which is mass market. Whoops-a-daisy. Is this one. It's called the Ancestor's Spirit Oracle. It's a Blue Angel deck, I believe. Comes with a nice guidebook. I absolutely love this deck, and it pairs up nice with the Paladini tarot deck because the artwork is kind of, the style of artwork I should say, not the actual content, but the style of artwork is very similar. So whereas the this is kind of more shamanic in my kind of opinion, and the Poppy Paladin is more kind of London, the artwork is kind of similar. So this is a really nice deck. I love that the backs are kind of flames of fire. You know, answer the call, explore, travel, live. You know, it's got very good kind of like keywords, because sometimes you have decks that don't have very nice keywords, or the keywords aren't relatable or don't kind of relate to the picture. Look at this one, back to basic, simplify, reduce, center. Beautiful. Most tarot decks don't appreciate, well, most oracle decks in my opinion don't appreciate the crone age, but look at this, you know, accentuating all her wrinkles and, you know, life that she's lived. Reconnect with Mother Earth, plant, garden, harvest. It's just such a beautiful deck. And then these butterflies that you see here are also in the Poppy Paladin deck, but I love it. And as I said before, it pairs up nicely, in my opinion, with the Everyday Enchantment Tarot. So this is the Ancestors Spirit Oracle cards. Right, I'm almost there now. I think I've got about 4 or 5 decks left, so please bear with me. I also like to play with playing cards and read with playing cards. So this Bicycle, Alchemy, 1977 England playing cards are just beautiful. The actual aesthetics, to me, are very pleasing to the eye. You know, look at these rubies in the 5 of diamonds. And just a nice background. They're kind of big, just beautiful. These remind me of stud earrings, you know, diamonds and emeralds. It's just got like a nice kind of feel. And I like that some of the cards are sepia, because sepia is also a good aesthetic for me to read with for some reason. I don't know why. Even though I do have quite a lot of black and white decks, I also have a preference for sepia and colour. So I'm a bit eclectic in my card tastes. So I'll just show you some of the cards. So it's a really beautiful, in my opinion, because, you know, gems are open to interpretation, but in my opinion, this is a very beautiful playing card deck. This is the Silver Era Tarot. It's a shifter deck. I love this deck. This is the first deck that I ever used for shadow work. It's black and white, and if I can remember, I think it's husband and wife that are featured in all the cards in different archetypes. But well, mainly black and white with a splash of colour, I should say. But it's just beautiful. And this to me as well also makes a good kind of Halloween deck. You don't see much people talking about this deck on TarotTube, but it's a really good deck. Black and white with a splash of colour. I love it. Look at the Empress pregnant, and it's the husband of the creator, which is this guy. So this is the same guy, just in different costumes. Really nice. And if you're a person that you don't like black and white decks because the colour palette is a bit dull, this would be a good one because it has got a splash of bright colours in there. Look at that death card. So this is the Silver Era Tarot deck. So this mass market deck is by, well, the artwork is by James Battisbury. He does the Tarot Collective kind of decks, like, you know, like the Tripping Waite and the, you know, those sort of decks. But this is a mass market one, and it was published by Schiffer. I think you can still get this deck from Tarot Collectibles, but it's not published by Schiffer. And I'm not sure whether this deck's actually in print, but if it is, I will put a link to it in the description bar. So this is from the old shiny Schiffer cardstock, which I actually quite like. They're quite durable, because no matter how much you shuffle these cards, they always kind of kept their quality, even though they're kind of difficult to film because they're quite shiny. Oh, I put this one in order. So it's, again, quite colourful with the borders. I do like coloured borders. And I think when I bought this deck, which was quite a while ago, I think this was quite modern art then. It's not so modern no more, but it was quite modern then. Look at the High Priestess with her crystal ball. And I love archetypes that depict nails. I mean, my nails are a bit of a state at the moment, but I do like nail polish and manicured nails. So the Empress. It's beautiful. Let me show you some of the minor arcana cards. So again, they're color coded, and that could be another reason why I like this deck. So the wands are kind of all in this kind of like bright red or kind of red tone kind of background, and the cups have got like a bluey kind of background, and I like this shade of blue. And the swords, if I can remember, have got like a creamy colour background. So these are the swords. Or mustardy, I should say, colour background. And then the pentacles have a green background. And this deck tells a very good story and is quite predictive when I use it anyway. But I haven't used it for a while, but I do actually enjoy working with this deck. So this is the Simply Deep Tarot by Chanel Bayliss, and artwork is by James Battisbury. So the next deck is called the Otherworlds Tarot. Again, this is an old time shifter deck. And again, the cards are slightly bigger than the traditional tarot cards. Well, some of them are upside down. These are colour coded. These are kind of like the title cards that you get. This deck has keywords in it. Like the World card, success. Not everybody might not agree with some of the keywords, but I actually like some. I actually like some of the keywords titles in this deck. So the cups of this nice blue. So the Page of Cups, birth. Temperance, moderation. So again, it's grey because it's part of the minor arcana. The wands, life-changing moves. This is the Knight of Wands. So High Priestess, Hangman, Limbo. The swords is a different type of blue. Think things through. That's the Page of Swords. So as I said before, I do like the colour coded suits. The ones in this deck are kind of green. So pentacles are in this nice kind of like dark red. And again, Eight of Pentacles, skills. So it's got very nice fitting keywords. And comes with a guidebook. And title cards. So this is the Otherworld Tarot. And my final mass market gem is called Legrande, Circus and Sideshow Tarot by James Lee. Not sure whether this deck is in print either, but I've had this deck for quite a while. This was one of my first modernish decks of matte cardstock, because, you know, back in the day, a lot of the tarot cards were kind of like glossy. So this was published by a small publishing company. And it's just Rider-Waite inspired, because kind of themed. So this is the Nine of Cups. And this archetype looks very comfortable being held or seated on this elephant's trunk. The Hangman. It's just a you know, this is like somebody on the trapeze hanging upside down. The Four. You know, I love this Four card because if that Joker guy kind of slips, he's going to go right into that lion's mouth. So that's a big risk that he's taking. So it's if you like the Circus like I do, this is a very nice deck. And look at the Empress, nicely four-figured. You know, she looks kind of like warm, doesn't she, and welcoming to go to. Five of Wands. This is a victory card. The Six of Wands, even though they look like candles. I guess candles flame, you know. Seven of Cups, all those kind of choices there. It's a beautiful deck. It's a good Legrande, Circus, Sideshow Tarot deck. So these are all my mass market gems. I will leave links to the ones that are in print in the description bar if anybody's interested. And thank you so much, Talia, for devising this beautiful hashtag. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.